Good morning, Sue. Good Monday morning to you. Hopefully you had a great Father's Day, celebrating it in remembrance of Uncle Fred. He had one of the best laughs of all time, boy. When he laughed, you knew. You knew. I gave their asses a minute to get in here. Well, the 5, 6 people that's gonna watch it live, so it don't matter. So the title of this clip is What's Wrong with Black People? And what people need to understand is there was not a question mark after what's wrong with black people. It was not a question mark. It was ... Because I'm going to explain right after this is done what's wrong with black people. And maybe there'll be 2 or 3 more people listening by the time this is done. Lift every voice and sing till earth and heaven ring, ring with the harmonies of liberty. Let our rejoicing rise high as the listening skies. Let it resound loud as the rolling sea. Sing a song full of the faith that the dark past has taught us. Sing a song full of the hope that the present has brought us. Facing the rising sun of our new day begun. Let us march on till victory is won. And the only motherfuckers clapping on that were the motherfuckers singing on that, or the motherfuckers who weren't singing, who were lip syncing, or the ones who weren't even lip syncing, they were just standing there listening to these tone deaf
off-key singing ass motherfuckers. Now, the caption is Nancy Pelosi and a group of black lawmakers sing every voice, lift every voice and sing the song called the Black National Anthem in ceremony for bill making Juneteenth a federal holiday. First and foremost, I don't know who the man was at the beginning who led the song off key, but he was wrong. Nancy Pelosi was singing. She looked like she might have been singing from a teleprompter, but that's too easy because half the people weren't singing. Some were moving their lips to make it look like they were singing, and some weren't doing shit at all. This is supposed to be the Black National Anthem being led by some white man and Nancy Pelosi singing wrongfully, very carefully. It's almost like she kind of knew the words. That's why I was thinking maybe something. But here's the thing. I probably wouldn't have had a problem with them doing this if they would have just did like the old school churches used to do. When you didn't know a song, or when they thought people wouldn't know a song, they put the sheet music on copies and passed the shit out when they wanted everybody to be involved. How come they didn't give everybody a copy of Lift Every Voice and Sing? Instead, they wanted to have them go freestyle. Half the room is white, so we already know they don't know the song. Half the room is white. Y'all excused. Y'all know the national anthem, but you don't know the Black National Anthem. Okay, y'all excused. But then we get to the black folks. I don't expect people like Sheila Jackson Lee. I don't expect Sheila Jackson Lee to know the Black National Anthem. Sheila Jackson Lee is Jamaican. So she's excused. She can stand over there with the white folks. Jim Clyburn, Fish Fry Jim. How come we just can't take half a loaf, Jim? Joe knows us, and we know Joe. Jim Clyburn, he didn't know the words either. Now, he blacker than a motherfucker. He is a descendant of slaves. Like Next Generation. I mean, under that Brooks Brothers suit is a pair of overalls. Right before he gets on camera, Jim Clyburn does have a straw hat on. I'm just letting y'all know. Don't believe that Jimmy is off the plantation all the way. He didn't know it. So he can get over there with Sheila Jackson Lee and the white folks. Who else was in this motherfucker? Hold on a second. Kawazi Mfume. Who else is in there? Hey, wait a minute. Is that Maxine? Oh, now I got to go back a little bit.
Today begun, let us march on till victory is won.
Yeah, Maxine's in there. She was off. And what's the dude, Al Green? Not the singer, but he's like a state representative or something. He got a ponytail. He was in there. He's something else, though. He's something else. I don't think he's a descendant. He's something else. I mean, we got descendants out here with some, some straight hair. Y'all thought I was going to say good hair. I already told you the good hair is the kinky shit. The good hair is not the straight hair. The good hair is not the fried hair. The good hair is the kinky shit. That wiry shit. That shit that grows like wool. That's the good hair. But y'all got it fucked up. Y'all think the good hair is the straight hair. The shit that lays down. That's not the good hair. That's just the straight hair. I don't know. It's too much melanin in this picture, though. Too much melanin in this picture, though, that didn't know Lift Every Voice. So my thing was not to make these motherfuckers look bad. They should have all gave them lyric sheets. It don't look bad when you're looking down, but you know the lyrics. Or put it on a teleprompter on a big 75-inch screen. Blow that font up, because all these motherfuckers older than a motherfucker. They can't see, so they need the font to be on 90 and just scroll the words really slow across the screen. Who can fuck that up? These motherfuckers. And real talk, it actually wasn't half white people in the room. I'm sure they were behind the camera, but they let the black lawmakers go in the front of the camera. There was a white woman here. There was the white dude that was leading, the lead singer of the Five Horsemen. But everybody else, they had melanin in their skin. And they just cheesing and laughing, but they singing off key. They not singing at all. They lip syncing, just moving their mouth, and they ain't even lining up with what's being said. And they think this is uplifting. They think this is celebratory. And I know a lot of motherfuckers don't agree with what I say just because I say it. But if you agree with this fucking symbolism, you a coon-ass motherfucker too. Let me just be honest with you. You are a coon-ass bitch too. If you agree with them getting up here pandering like this, right before Joe Biden signed the bill and gave out the pins to Opal Lee and Sheila Jackson Lee and Bruce Lee and everybody named Lee, you a coon too. This was some of the most embarrassing shit. But I've seen more embarrassing. And the reason I got on here today, well, I get on here every day. Actually, as a matter of fact, 75 days in a row, one up to the Hap Space, 75 days in a row. What's that, 2.5 months of cast? And I do multiple videos every day. So I done did multiple videos for 2.5 months. For a lot of y'all, I done made some sense to some shit. For a lot of y'all, I ain't made sense to some shit. For a lot of y'all, they ain't seen this shit, so I really don't give a fuck what they think. But let's just get back to this. This symbolism bullshit. Why would we do this? Why would there be a need to do this? I mean, did they send an email out and say, hey, we're thinking about singing Lift Every Voice? At the bottom of the email, hit the link. It's a PDF. Print out a copy of the lyrics. If you don't know it, bring it with you. Or we're going to pass out lyric sheets. But by all means, we don't want you just standing there not singing, not lip syncing, not moving your lips. We got to make this look good. We got to make this look better than this fucking holiday that we're about to give them. They haven't figured out that we're really not giving them shit yet. But once we pass this, with no police reform, with no prison reform, with no restorative justice, with no reparative justice, when they just know that they're just getting a holiday where most people are going to benefit from it are going to be white people for getting a paid day off, we'll be long gone. We'll be back to our business. We'll be talking about, was there an insurrection at the Capitol building? Do we want to join the Iran space shuttle shit? Whatever the fuck we're going to talk about. This is the way they do you. They throw you a crumb and they run. So at the beginning of the month, this is Black Music Month. So at the beginning of the month, I started sharing Black music and talking about the artist via Wikipedia. I don't go into my own characterization of any of these performers. I just do it through Wikipedia. Keep it simple. If anybody wants to talk about these artists on those posts, I'll talk about them. But for the most part, I just do it because that music has either been a part of my life or it's just been a part of music history. Somebody asked me, like maybe the third day in, why I wasn't saying anything about Pride Month. I'm like, what do I need to say? They're like, what's Pride Month? You know, you say Black Music Month, but it's Pride Month, and you know, Juneteenth's coming up. And I was like, whoa. So you putting Pride Month with Juneteenth? Or are you putting Pride Month with Black Music Month? What do you want me to talk about? Like Black artists that were gay? I mean, what's the correlation here? Why are you associating me with Pride Month? And I know why people do it. But I try not to call these whole ass niggas out just like on front. But I know why people do it. And I'm good with it. I got gay kids. I got gay kids. Okay? And I guess I'm supposed to have a reaction when a motherfucker says something about my gay kids. But I don't have a reaction because there's no reaction to have. So when people ask me shit like this, I'm like, well, you know, since you mentioned it, it is Pride Month. And I have no problem with celebrating whatever they want to celebrate as long as it doesn't impede me. As long as it doesn't stop me from doing what I need to do. Because that's basically what the world is, basically, you know, for me. You don't step on my toes to do what you need to do. I'm good with you. Just go do what you need to do. I am tight. So I was like, you know, I don't need to have a reaction to Pride Month. You know, there's going to be all types of functions, you know, Pride Month, and that doesn't have anything to do with me. But when they threw Juneteenth in, we hadn't heard that it was going to be made a holiday yet. When they threw that in there, I was like, you know, I don't want to have people confuse the two, because what I hear a lot when I hear about LGBTQIAP, I hear freedom. I hear that a lot. I hear freedom. And I don't know how to correlate one's freedom if one was never held captive. So, sorry, I keep messing with my hat because I've been fucking moving shit, and I really didn't have my hat on. This is my work hat. And I should have covered the tape up, huh? I ain't giving Adidas no love. Actually, I wear Adidas shit. I got Adidas shorts, Adidas shirt. Actually, this ain't Adidas polo shirt. But, you know, I'm not trying to give it no promotion. It's just fucking Adidas hat. And I know people covering this shit up. I don't give a fuck. Some motherfuckers gonna see this video. It ain't like I'm really like sending a whole lot of money towards Adidas way. But whatever. Sarida. When you haven't been held captive, I'm not really sure exactly how you can be freed. But some people feel like the LGBTQIAP were freed. From what? I don't know. I'll be very honest. I don't know. I'll be honest. I'm always honest. I don't know why I say that. I'll be honest. I'm always honest. That's part of my fucking problem. I'm too goddamn honest. So, when they say that they've been freed from something, I'd like to know where they were held captive. Most can't tell me this because they were never held captive. I do understand sometimes the correlation of what they might be trying to say. I can't get inside the mind of a gay man or woman because I've never been a gay man or woman. But I can understand that maybe they feel like they were held captive because they weren't able to marry or they weren't able to express their sexual liberation. So I get what they say, kinda. Still does not equate to bondage. And I'm not talking about the type of bondage that you use in your bedrooms, but I'm talking about bondage, like literally being held captive. Because when I talk about freedom, I'm talking about being free from captivity, like the slaves were in 1865. I learned something this weekend to be true. I didn't verify it before I heard it. And now I know I probably won't be fucking with June 19th anymore because I learned that that day was really just for Texas. That's one thing I learned. But the real date of our freedom, it wasn't June 19th. It was December 6th. And everybody can go do their research on it because don't nobody believe what the fuck I say anyway. But I did do the research on it. Then I finally heard the motherfucker, historian, talk about it, and he broke it down categorically. And I'm like, damn. He was like, so if you want to talk about when you really got your freedom, it wasn't then, it was then. And I'm like, oh shit. So we just had it all wrong because symbolism all this time? Yeah. Yeah. That's why we've had it wrong, because it's been totally about symbolism versus anything else, versus real history. So when the LGBTQIAP were given the policy to where they could marry and things like that legally in the United States, there was a sigh of relief. There was a celebration. And I heard people talk about how they were free. I said I never understood it because I never knew that they were held captive. And then when people talk about Juneteenth, they talked about the slaves being freed. Today we truly gained our freedom. That I can relate to. So the reason I didn't talk about the Pride Month, like I said, I didn't have a reason to. And the reason I said that I would only talk about it after Juneteenth was because I had a reason. Because I knew that Juneteenth this year was going to be like no other. It was going to be like no other. I mean, this was the 100th year of the Tulsa Massacre. Violence has heightened in America around Black Americans. It's not getting lower, it's heightened. We've now got 6-year-old babies being shot in their front yard by immigrants. People who have fled another territory to come here and enrich themselves are now shooting our babies in front of their houses. So to me, I don't believe it can get any worse. I know everybody wants to always go to black on black crime, but how about we go about the crime on Black people? And we can go all the way back to 1619 or before, or we can just stay right here in 2021. But as I said, I knew things were getting bad. I knew things were getting worse. And I felt like if they fucked us over with the whole Tulsa thing, Juneteenth was probably going to be a flat out symbolism fest. And it was. It eventually became a national holiday. And as I started to see people promote Juneteenth, I started to see advertisements for the LGBTQIAP talking about events and their lifestyle. Juneteenth trans event. Juneteenth queer event. It will be a Juneteenth LGBTQ plus event. Juneteenth black gay women event. Only consolation there is that they did put the black in front of gay. But they were using the promotion of freedom. And there's a direct correlation to the freedom of slaves to the freedom of gay people. And it just wasn't so. It wasn't anywhere even true that you could put those two together. But as black people, as Negroes, as people of African descent, descendants of freedmen, descendants of slavery, we let all this shit build up all the way to the weekend. And we had several events that popped off throughout the country that had nothing to do with the freedom of slaves. From the trans Juneteenth events all the way to Twerkteenth. Twerkteenth. There were twerking competitions in celebration of Juneteenth. There were trans parties, events, festivals tying in their lifestyle with the lifestyle of freed slaves. How? How do the two correlate? The only thing that I will but on this one, because there's no but between these two. The freedom of the LGBTQIAP and the freedom of slaves, there's absolutely no direct correlation. But the only thing that I will give a but to is you've had two marginalized collectives of people. It's the only thing that I'm giving. That's the only thing that I'm going to give it. Other than that, they shouldn't even be brought up in the same sentence. It's an embarrassment. Truthfully, it's an embarrassment for both collectives. Because if gay people really felt that they were on the level of descendants of slavery, of descendants of freedmen, then they would understand the importance not to lock these two in. Grants Pass. What's up, Tossed Out? How you doing? What state is Grants Pass in? And I appreciate the subscription. Thank you for the support. Just like descendants of freedmen, descendants of slavery, we don't lock in on the LGBTQIAP lifestyle or movement, but we've been there in support of them when there's been marginalization. See, I don't see a universal support from the LGBTQIAP for Native Black Americans the way I've seen the support of Native Black Americans to the LGBTQIAP. See, we cape for everybody. as a collective. There's many individuals that say, fuck all that. They're not fucking with us. I'm not fucking with them. I get that. I'm one of them. If you don't have it for us, we don't have it for you. And that's just me and my circle. And I got a very, very small circle. I'm not walking the plank with you if you won't walk the plank with me. That's just it. And when I started to see these events, one of the early ones I saw, let me just read. I actually had to screenshot this for somebody today. That's my boy. No, I don't want to see my memories. There we go. Juneteenth and Black, Queer, and Trans Futures. They did basically a live video, and they talked a lot. Join Black, Queer, and Trans activists as they share reflections on Juneteenth and its relevance to Black and queer liberation on college campuses and beyond. Join Black, Queer, and Trans activists as they share reflections on Juneteenth and its relevance. You do know what relevance is to Black and queer liberation on college campuses and beyond. So you took Juneteenth, this is way out here, and you bottlenecked it to talk about its relevance to gay and trans life. In 1865, I have no doubt, not one doubt in my mind, that there were some homosexuals in the Black collective. There were absolutely some gay people in the Black collective in 1865. I have no doubt in my mind. Homosexuality did not come about post-slavery. Feel me? It didn't come about post-slavery. And I appreciate everybody dipped in here and had a whole lot of chatting it up. No biggie. I see we've had 15 touches so far on the Hap space. I don't know about Facebook, YouTube, anywhere else. But I need people to understand, having had homosexuals in the Native Black collective, in the Descendants of Slavery collective, in the Descendants of Freedmen collective, has nothing to do with Juneteenth. Because Juneteenth, or the actual time that the slaves were actually freed, they weren't freed in spite of being gay. They weren't freed because they were gay. They were just freed. And nobody was giving a shit much about their sexuality. So for them to talk about the relevance of trans, queer liberation to Juneteenth is a fallacy. It didn't exist. But see, you can paint these things with really, really, really broad strokes. Yes, you can. You can do these things. You can paint these things with really broad strokes. And most people are not going to break it down, and I get it. It's a touchy subject. Nobody wants to touch anything about the letters, the LGBTQIAP. I get it. But they'll touch something about the NEGRO. How about them letters? The NEGRO. Ain't nobody got no fear of the NEGRO. But everybody fears the LGBTQIAP. Why? Because it's become political. And I'm sorry, if your sexuality is political, what's more important, the politics of it or the reality? Anybody being marginalized on this soil, it's fucked up. And I don't care who you sleep with. But when you try to liken your sexuality to the freedom or freeing of a collective of people who were brutalized and murdered for 246 years, I have to question how? How? How'd you do that? How'd you make that happen? There's absolutely nothing that a gay man or woman can do or say to liken themselves to a chattel slave. Nothing at all. Ever. But when we have people who feel like they can just say, hey, we're just like the shirt that I posted. I'm black and I'm proud. I have no problem with that. But did they give James Brown's family some money for that hook? I'm black and I'm proud. That's James Brown shit. Did James Brown's estate get some of that money? Because I don't really believe it was a Juneteenth shirt. I think it was a pride shirt. And if it was a pride shirt, why couldn't they just say pride? Why'd they have to throw black in there? I didn't see I'm Latino and I'm proud. I'm Asian and I'm proud. I'm Arabic and I'm proud. I'm Chaldean and I'm proud. I'm Native American and I'm proud. I'm Jewish and I'm proud. I'm German and I'm proud. I'm Albanian and I'm proud. I'm Armenian and I'm proud. Just I'm black and I'm proud. Just I'm black and I'm proud. Is that just because it's Juneteenth? I'm a Holocaust survivor and I'm proud. I'm a survivor of the Trail of Tears and I'm proud. I'm a concentrate survivor and I'm proud. Why is it just I'm black and I'm proud? Because there's respect for the LGBTQIAP. But there ain't no respect for the NEGRO. If you don't think this makes sense, I get it. And you're part of the problem. You didn't have a problem with gay and trans people locking in on the Juneteenth holiday, the nothing burger of all holidays. They can go right along with the nothing burger of MLK Day. That holiday don't do nothing for Black Americans either. We just keep giving paid days off to our oppressors' ancestors. Y'all something else. Y'all something else. How long we're gonna do this? I don't know. How long is it gonna take all these fucking clown-ass politicians to die off? How long is it gonna take us to get our shit in order and stop voting in Black immigrants who don't have our interests at heart? How long is it gonna take for us to stop voting in old white men who told you, I'm not gonna do shit for you that happened over 300 years ago? That's how long. You want to know what's wrong with Black people? White people. Not all of them, but Black people's biggest problem is white people. And unfortunately, we got some white people that look just like Black people. So this ain't got nothing to do with pigmentation. This has to do with your spirit. Because I'm not saying that all Caucasian people are bad people. There's some decent Caucasian folk out here. But who our problem is them Caucasian folk who seem to think that we're only good for the dollar because they knew us only as the dollar. The hardest thing for a lot of white people out here is that Black people make money after being the money. How you gonna go from being the currency to making currency? That's quite a coup to some people. And I don't feel sorry for one white person that didn't do shit with their 400-year head start. You were given a 400-year head start. 246 years, you didn't even have a fight. You had no competition for 246 years. So any Caucasian that tries to fuck with me, I'm gonna say, look, motherfucker, on a 100-yard football field, we gave y'all the 50 and put you all the way over to the 30. And you just had to get to the goal line. We started on the goal line, and they said, on your mark, get set, go. If you didn't get to the finish line before me and my people, that's your fucking problem. We gave you 246 years for free. Now we've been a part of another 156 years of systemic oppression. And if your ass ain't got a head, that's your problem. That's your fault. Don't blame us. Sugar and sugar, salt and salt. If you didn't do the right motherfucking thing, it ain't black folks' fault. You bitches. I got shit to do. I got people to see. Just understand. This is what the fuck it is. And this is where I stand. The only thing that's wrong with black people is white people. And unfortunately, all of them aren't Caucasian. One love.